with the dynamic page, and we have created a sample.php file, and with that sample.php we are written some 3 lines saying that, and always your PHP code starts with angle bracket question mark PHP and close with a question mark and angle bracket. So in that 2 lines you have to put all the stuff there. Okay, so I'll save that. It says you can't open that. Why? Because I am in the var HTML. You cannot directly write with that. So I'll say sample.php. Okay. So I'll go with the root user. I will go and I'll paste that and I'll save it. Okay. Now I have 2 files. Which 2 files? Index.html and sample.php. So let's go and access the sample.php from browser. So I'll say sample.php. Ready, steady, go. So what we should expect? You should expect data type. But let's see what is the reality. 1, 2, and 3. What happened? The entire code is available to here. Now there are 2 possibilities for this error. Basically, this is an error. You should not see this code. If you are able to see the code, then there is a problem. So there are 2 possibilities. Number 1, PHP package is not installed or PHP program is not installed in the system. Or if it is already installed, Apache is not able to see that PHP. Is clear? There are 2 possibilities. Either PHP is not installed or Apache is not able to see that. So how to work around with that? Let's go with that. So first, check the PHP. Okay, how to check PHP is available? We'll say PHP -- version. If you are able to get the version, you're good. Or you have to check the package. Which package? RPM-QA pipegrep PHP. Either you check the package or check with the command. Let's go and see that. So I'll say PHP -- version. It says PHP command.com. That means it's clear indication that maybe PHP is not, but it's not. You have to check that is in some different path or something. So I'll say RPM-QA pipegrep PHP. So PHP is not installed there. Give me a second. Hello? Okay. So basically, we will go RPM-QA. It is not there. So what is the best way? Install the package. So I'll say sudo em-y install PHP. Now what, when I did this installation, what will happen? It will install the PHP, but PHP is smart. This package is smart. What it will do? It will detect that, hey, Apache is already installed. If Apache software is already installed, it will create one configuration file under Apache. Under which directory? So it will create a configuration under /etc httpd/conf.d/php.conf. It will create one file under this directory. Let's go and see that this file is available or not. Let's go and see first. ls-l /etc httpd/conf.d/php. Do you see that file? Or what are the files under that conf.d? You have autoindex.conf, readme, SSL, but there is no PHP conf. There is no PHP. Okay. So let's go and install PHP. So automatically it will create a file in that. Ready, steady, go. em-y install PHP. So we will try to avoid both of the possibilities. That means installation of PHP and Apache should able to see the PHP. Using that configuration file, Apache will see, hey, where is the PHP? So it says, hey, here is the PHP. Okay, so we are going with that. We have to install. Now we are installing PHP. Then it will not give that. That's why we have to follow the sequence, or you have to manually go and create that. So if you follow the reverse sequence, like first you install the PHP and then you install the Apache, then it will not, because you are installing later on, right? Decision is not taken. Decision is taken while installation. Okay, so the sequence should be followed. First you have to install the Apache and then you have to install the PHP. Okay, now let's go and see the file is there or not. Ready, steady, go. Now you see that. Do you see the php.conf, the second file? Now PHP is installed. Now let's go and check the version, php-7 version. Are you able to see the version? Yes. So both values are correct. Good. Now once we change the web server configuration, what we need to do? Always you have to restart the web service. Any additional changes happens in the configuration, you have to restart. After restarting, what happens? It will reread all the configurations. It will reread all the configurations. So let's stop the server, service httpd stop. And then what we'll do? We'll say start. So what it happens? When you stop, it's okay. But when you start, it will reread the configuration. Now, the PHP is visible to your Apache. PHP is visible to Apache. Let's go and see that. Now, shall we go? Okay. 1, 2, and 3. Right. So now you can see that. We see the date. We see that today is Tuesday, Thursday, and then we see that time is something. So our time is not correct. Is that correct? Not 4:30. So really? So which time it is showing? My laptop time is what? 9:58. But what is my server time? What is that server time? It is also correct. Then why that PHP time is not correct? Means that page time is not correct. So in the PHP, there is an option called as a time zone. Okay, so you have to set the time zone option in the PHP configuration file. And what is the configuration file of PHP? php.ini. So let's go and see that. So vi/etc php.ini file. Okay, so we'll go with the sudo because it's in the etc folder. Basically, that is a configuration. Now I'll open that file. You can have a lot of things there in the configuration file. Do we have the time zone? Time, max time, time zone, duration of time, zone. You see that? What is the date and time zone? What is under the date section? What is the time zone? Nothing, right? It is commented. So this is commented. So we have to put the zone, proper zone, date time zone. So what is that? Let's go and see that. Okay, PHP date time zone example. So you can go here, or you can say date time zone India. You can also go with that. So how to go with that? Asia manually, how can put that? Get current IST time, stack flow, or default time zone. So there are a lot of ways you can define. We'll try to go with that. Okay. Okay. So what it says, go ahead and set up the date time zone. So either you can directly say the date time zone here, Asia, Kolkata, or set default time zone to your default. So here it says go with that, but it is not telling you the direct way of doing that. Okay, let's go and see here. It is giving all the details. Hey, no, I don't want details. I want the PHP ini, php.ini file. Change the time zone. Okay. Date time zone, Asia, Delhi, Asia, Kolkata. Really? You want to see that? So our time zone is Asia, Kolkata. Okay. Let's try with this. Okay. Let's go and see that. There is my page. What it says now? It's not an effect. Why? Correct. So you have to, whenever you do the change in the configuration, you need to restart. Let's try with that. Let's stop it. Let's start it. Let's try this. If this works, good. Yes. So this is how you need to troubleshoot what is happening, where is happening, and so on. Okay. So you have to make the changes in the configuration file. You may need to change something in the script. Small things you can go and modify that. It's not like you have to write entire program, but minor, if any problems, you can go and fix that. Okay. So there is a configuration file, which is the etc php.ini file. So every application has its own configuration file. You need to work along with that. Good. So we have fixed that time. Now let's do a deliberate mistake in the PHP and see that. So I'll say sample.php. Now what I will do, I will remove a semi-comma here. What I did, I will go back. I am going to remove just semi-comma. Okay. I am doing a small mistake, just removing the semi-comma, and I'll saving that. Ready, steady, go. Now for this, I will not need to restart because this is not a configuration file. This is the program. So I don't need to restart it. Only for configuration file to change the effect, you will go with that. Okay, so I did the deliberate mistake in the program. Ready, steady, go. 1, 2, and 3. What happened? Now we should not talk in a layman's language. Layman's language, this page is not working. No. Now you are a DevOps engineer, so you have to talk about this. Error number is what? 500. So what is the meaning of that error? Very simple. If the error number is more than or equal to 500, it is a server side error. If it is error below 500, it is a client side error. Here, so that's the first demarcation. Error greater than 500, equal to or greater than 500, it is a server side error. Okay, now I will go. I will say that. Now you should tell me. Okay, I'll say temple run. Something I will give something there. Okay, not HTML. Ready, steady, go. I'm deliberately giving the wrong name to show you the error. Here we go. What is that? What is that number here? That you need to talk. 404 means page not found. That means that the page the user is trying to ask, it is not available in that directory. Which directory? var www html. That page is not there in that directory. That is what is the meaning of that. So any error which is more than or equal to 500 is a server side error. Any error less than that. Now you'll say, oh, okay, I understood that, but where is the list of errors? So list of error is available in the configuration file. Let's go and see that. So we'll go with the web server configuration file. Where is the configuration file? /httpd.conf. Okay. Now I'll open that file and I'll search for the error. Pardon? No need. Just I'm reading. I don't want to change. Read is okay. So that's why I'm only using vi, not sudo vi. Okay. So I can go with that. Ready, steady, go. Okay. Now which error we need to search? Search for 500. So how to search? In the vi editor /500. That is the first and second. Okay. You see that? What it is saying? So the server made Bumbu or something missing page 404, 402. So basically you can define the message also. Not only the error, but you can define the message. So there are predefined numbers are there. Okay, now here is the additional.conf file. Say. So additionals you can get there. But basically in this httpd.conf, you'll have, let's go and see that. cd/etc httpd.conf. What is there? Via magic, something is there. 500. No. Here's, okay. So basically list of errors. I can again go to the internet. I can say httpd error list and error code. Okay. So there may be a lot of error codes are there. So you can go and find out the code. Now you have to by heart minimum 10 codes. You have to by heart minimum 10 codes. Here you can see that 100, 200, 300, 400 client side error, 500. Let's go and see that. So you have to minimum by heart 10. So this is the 500. 5xx is the server side. Internal server error, implemented bad gateway, blah blah blah. So minimum learn 10, because in interview they'll ask the question, hey, if you are working on Apache web server, you may have faced some error. Tell me the error numbers. So you can say 2 error numbers from 200, 2 error numbers from 2 from 400, 2 from 500, more than sufficient. So they will know that you have the idea of what does that error mean. Is clear? This will help you do the troubleshooting. This will help you to do the troubleshooting immediate. Hey, where is the problem? Client or server? If the problem in the client, you can say, hey, check you the file name and this and that and check it. But if server error, you have to jump on the server immediately and do that. Now, how to troubleshoot it? We got the error, right? We got the error. What is the error? So sample, hey, where is my page? So sample.php. Now we got this 500 error. What is this error? We know that we deliberately did the mistake. But if you are unknown to that mistake, how will you troubleshoot? Step of troubleshooting is what? You need to check the log of files. Which files? And where are our log files? cd/var. So I need to become a root because otherwise I will not able to see that. So I will go with the root and I will go to the directory. Which directory? cd/var log. We have written yesterday in our technical details. Where is that directory? Yeah, httpd. And which two files are there? There are two log files. One is the access log and one is the error log. We will see the error log because errors are stored always under. Now what is the log files? Log files are the hint given by a service to you to troubleshoot. Okay. Now let's go and see that. I'll say cat error log. And what is that? It says last line. It is giving you the hint. What is that? It is saying that PHP error, syntax error, expected semi-comma, comma or semi-comma in PHP line number 3. See, so many details it is giving. It is giving all the details. Where is the problem, which file, and these and that. All the details, it is possibly available. Clear? So it is giving all the details to you. Now you have to search not exactly on 3 lines, but maybe 1 or 2 lines above, 1 or 2 lines below. Okay, so maybe there are possibility 1 or 2 errors more there. So check all the errors. Is clear? So this is how you have to troubleshoot the web server problem. You have to go in the log file and you have to see what is the log. Check the latest lines, last lines. Saying that there is a problem. Okay, we understood that. Clear? Shall we go and correct? So nearly the problem in line number 3, near to that. Not exactly, but near to that. So just a hint. It is not exact saying that okay, because it is saying that either it is expecting semi comma or comma, right? So it's trying to give you a hint, saying that what is expected. Let's go and see that. I'll come out. I'll say sudo vi slash var html sample dot. Now this is line number 1, 2. We know that where is the mistake? Expecting semi comma. Oh, okay. Give the semi comma. Is clear? So now you fix the error. Very good. Good. Now again, I'll refresh the page. And with that, refresh. Wow. You're able to. So this clear? So anything, how to troubleshoot the problem? So don't get panic. Oh, there is error. No, 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 no. You have to go to the server, go to the log files and check the log files. Is clear? Now we will deliberately stop the server. Let's see the error. What is the error? Service stop. Now I'll go and refresh. What happened? Now what is the error? Connection refused. That means now the meaning is different. Right? There is no number given saying specific thing. It says, hey, error connection refused because I am not able to connect to the server. Now there will be n number of problems in between. Your internet connection is not working. From here to the server is not reachable. If the server is reachable, service is down. Now server is up, right? The 0.9 is up, but the service is down. So in this case, service is down. We know that. So let's go and start the service. Okay, so that's how you have to troubleshoot. Understand the error message. Your first work is to understand the error message because that is the hint given by the system to you saying that is the problem, and you'll go with that. And then you'll decide the course of action. Because when you go to the doctor and they say, doctor, paining, doctor cannot understand anything. Then he'll ask the first question, where is the paining? They say, oh, my stomach is paining. And they say, okay, the first probing question, what he'll ask? Yesterday, what you ate? He says, I eat too much thing, too mirchi bhaji and these and that and all the stuff. I eat something. Then what he'll say? He will give 2 rupees to you and say, go and have the Eno first. Or if there is a serious, then he'll say, no, you have to go and do some tests, right? So depending on the error, you'll diagnose the problem. Don't apply general formula to all the problems, right? So depending on the error, that's why you have to understand the errors. And that's why we say in DevOps, you should learn nearly 10,000 errors. How many errors? That way it will help. Do deliberate mistakes. What do you have to do? Do deliberate mistakes. Understand what is happening. Do deliberate mistakes. Understand what is happening and correct that. So once you start practicing failing, you know what not to do because you know what is failing. Okay. Okay. Now this is all about the cosmetic, all top views. Now let's go a little bit deep into the stuff. Now somebody says, hey, your web server is working on port number 8080. Please change it to the port number 8080. So what we have to do? We have to go in the configuration file. We have to change the port number from 80 to 8080. Let's go and see that. So which is our configuration file? vi/etc httpd conf httpd.conf. But now we have to update or read write. We'll say sudo. Okay. Okay, I open the file. Now there is a port number given that it says /listen. Okay, so listen parameter, which port it is showing? Good. I need that port number. So I'll change that port number to 8080 or any number, whatever you want. So what is mean by port number? Port number is nothing but it is a gate for that service. Gate number. What is that? Gate number. So that's only you have to remember. Port number is what? Gate number. By default, what was the gate number? 80. Now what is the gate number? Okay, so I'll save that. Now I have changed the configuration file. What I need to do? Restart the. Okay, did you note down the name of the file? So what is the parameter? I will open it again. Search for listen, LISTEN, listen. And you will go with that. Instead of 80, you are going with the 80. Ready, steady, go. Now this is the interview question. How will you change the port number? Okay, all the questions we are dealing only with the interview related things. So you should be able to answer them. Now when you change the port number, you have to restart the service. Sudo service HTTP stop. And then again, start. Good. So we started. Now what is the port number? New port number. Let's go and confirm. PS-EF pipe grep. HTTP. Yes, working. Netstat-NTPL. Pipe grep 80. So what is the port number? You see that? So our web server is now started and port number 8080. Gate number 8080. By default, now let's go. Ready, steady, go. Shall I refresh? Which gate it will go? 80 by default. Let's go and see. Which gate it is trying to go? 80 by default. The gate is closed. That's why it is saying error connection refused. So we say no. You don't have to go with the default port. You don't have to go with the default gate. Change the gate. So you will give that gate number here, colon. Good. So now go with this gate and get this file. Okay, ready, steady, go. Yes. So now we are entered through different gate. Is this clear? Okay, so we change the gate. Instead of go with this gate. Go with this port. Okay. Next. Now suppose you are done, you are going good and everything is happening very good. You open the file again and you go with the port and listen and so on. Now here something happens. Instead of listen, you mistakenly say listen, something like that. Now we are doing deliberate mistakes so that you can understand that. I'll go and I'll save that file. Okay. Now when I say stop service, it is stopping successfully. No problem in that. But when it's starting, it will read the configuration file and then something happens here. You see that what happens? Job for HTTP service fail because of something. You don't know what happened. Oh my God, really? I don't know. So what do you say? You will say CTL XE. It will say that something. You see here? So still you are not able to get the, I don't know what is happening. Here, you see here what it says? Invalid command li. I will be able to see where the -L. Hey, show me the long listing. Is possible? Yes. But it is not showing me the complete thing. How I can get that long listing? Either I need to reduce the font or something. But what it is trying to say, there is a wrong keyword available. Okay. Okay. But there is another simple method to doing that. Now, whenever you are working with the web server, you have to check the correctness of the configuration file. And there is a command. You can say httpd-t. Yesterday you have written that command. I have given that command that how to check the configuration file. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, and 3. What it says? it says syntax error at line number. It will tell you exactly where is the problem. And what is the misspell? Okay, so it's the word is not correct. Listen. Okay, so let's go and fix that. Shall we go and fix that? I'll go with that. I'll fix it back. Now everything looks normal. Let's go and confirm. Ready, steady, go. Yeah. So what it says now? There is another error message. What it says? Cannot reliably determine server fully qualified domain name using DevOps server name directive blah 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 syntax okay. Now basically this is the warning. Now that warning says that I'm not able to find a proper IP address and name for this machine. Okay. So what is the name of the machine? Host name. DevOps batch 14, my company. What is the IP address? It is a 0.9. But now server will try to find out the IP address in two methods. Number one, it will go to the DNS. It says, hey, this is my host name. What is my IP? So that is a command. You'll say nslookup. And what is the host name? I'll go with that. So now it says, now that backtick means what? I will execute that hostname command. So automatically it will take the name. We'll say that. So what is the error it's saying? Means the message cannot server can't find the devops.mycompany.com. So first it will go to the DNS. So instead of typing nslookup and then DevOps batch 14.mycompany.com, I use the shortcut. I said go with that. So I know how to get the host name. So I have passed and that host name with the backtick, the command. Okay. So instead of typing whole name, I said, hey, take the name, but it is not able to find it. Correct. So DNS is failing. Now, whenever you don't have DNS, you have to go with one file, which is the etc host file. So you'll go with that sudo vi/etc hosts. Now here it is having the name DevOps batch 14. What is our IP? 9. I'm not sure. Same IP, right? Yes. 9. Okay. Hey, where is my file? Okay. Now what happened? It is trying to search the name of the host. So is that name? mycompany.com. Is that same? Let's go and see that. Is there any spelling mistake, typo error? DevOps batch 14, DevOps batch 14 is exactly same. mycompany.com, yes. Okay. So what I will do, I will change this and I will put at the back DevOps batch 14. Okay, let's go and see that. So now we have updated the etc host file, which will tell you what is the host name and what is the IP address. Let's go and see that. Again, do the httpd-t. There is my IP. You see that? Now that error has gone. Or another way of fixing that is you have to open the configuration file. And you have to fix the server name. So there is a parameter called server name. Okay. So what is the server name currently? It is commented out. So we'll give the server name. I'll say server name. And this is the server. So you can define either or you can fix the etc host. So there are a couple of ways to fixing that. So there may not be one answer or one solution. So you see that what it says, if the host name doesn't have registered DNS, enter its IP address here, or you can go directly with the IP address, no problem. But instead of DNS, what we did with the etc host. So HTTP-T. Now this is what you're expecting. So anytime, see, this is an interview question. He will say, hey, how you check the configuration file of your web server? So you have to give this command. You have to say HTTP-T, and it should go with the syntax OK. There should be no other errors in that. Okay. Now, which type of error it will detect? Mostly it will detect left-hand side. You are responsible for right-hand side because you are giving the value. Let's go back. Let's go with the listen. Now, what is our listen parameter? 8080. By mistake, if you type 8081, who is responsible? The DevOps engineer will responsible. If I say T, it will still say syntax OK because technically everything is correct. But the port number, you are expecting 8080, but you mistakenly type 8081. There is no way of correction because this is the typographical mistake. So you have to be very careful while editing the parameters. Left hand side, it's okay. Right hand side, you have to be careful with that. This is clear? Any question, any doubt? I'll go back with the normal again, listen 80, and then we'll restart the service. So anytime when you touch the file, check that the syntax is okay. If the syntax is not okay, then there is a problem. Okay, you'll bring down the entire system. Service. Yes, now we are there. Let's go back. Now we have closed which gate? 8080 gate we have closed. So now we'll not able to see that. Which gate we have now? 80. So shall I type 880 here? Yeah, you can type that, no problem. You can type, no problem. Automatically will remove that. Why? Because it knows that you are going to default port. This clear? So this is all about the configuration file with the web server. So all play is around with the configuration file. You have to manage that configuration file correctly. Check that it is correct or not. Port is correct or not. Are you able to access it correct or not? And so on. And if you are not able to find, of course, you have to go to the log file and check the error message. Clear? Good. So that way, it will help us to bring the web server with the dynamic page and things. Any other questions we have?
Sir, can I open both file at a time in browser? Like index.html and php.
Yes, why not? I'll open this and I'll put here. I'll say here and index.html. Why not? Yes. Both file at a time means IP. IP by default, which page it will open? Index.html. There may be 1,000 files, then it will open 10,000 files. Then you are doomed. No. It will open only specific file. It will open only specific file. Yeah, you can give the reference, you can give the links, and then you can jump from one page to other page. No problem. You can say ahref or something. Link, HTML link tag. Okay, here we go. Suppose I have the link page. I'll go with the URL and the link here. Okay. So what I'll do? I'll create this in the index.html. Via sudo vi /etc var html index.html. Now I will give the reference of the sample PHP. I can give here. I can say URL. Here I will say sample. and I'll say sample PHP. Okay, and you can open with that, no problem. So it is like a local reference. You can create your local reference and you can go along with that. Let's see that. Refresh. Now you see that. Now if I click on that, it should open the sample PHP. You can link one page to other page, no problem. You can definitely do all those things. But that is not your work actually. How to make PHP program page as a default one when you enter the IP address. Okay, very simple. If you want, instead of opening index.html, if you want to go with the index.php, you can do that. So you can say in the configuration file, you have to go and set up saying that I want to go with that. Oh, here we go. Open the file sudo vi http://index.html. So here it says, right? So directory index is what? Index.html. Instead of that, you can put index.php. That's all. And if PHP is not there, go for index.html. So I can put here like first go with the index.php. And if the index.php is not there, go for index.html. And if there is no index.html, then it go for error message. Right? You have not specified the file, it will give the error message. This is clear? So this is how you will say that I want to go with which page first. Now by default is indexed. You can say that bumblebee.html, that's your first page, no problem. Define whatever first page you want here. It is not compulsory that you should go with the index page first. You can go with any page first, but you have to define that. By default, universally accepted standard is index.html. So you'll go with the, okay. So that is how you will go with that. Okay. So hopefully that answered your question, Sumant. Okay. So when you type the IP address, automatically it will open the index.php part. So all very, very good configurations are available in the configuration file. Okay. Any other question? Any other thing you want to bring it up? I'm not sure that code will available, or let's go and see that. I'm trying to get the new line character. So BR is like a new line character. Ah, yes, not sure. Okay. Okay. Any other questions? So we saw that how to get the PHP, okay, and how to go along with that. So let's go to the next topic. Let's go ahead in the LAMP. So LAMP, we talked about Linux. So already you know that. Apache. So we talked about Apache. Then PHP. And now we'll talk about MySQL database. Okay. So one step at a time we'll go. Once we'll have all the knowledge, we'll combine them and we'll create a WordPress site. Because LAMP is used to set up lots of tools. LAMP is a very basic framework for many tools like Bugzilla, Mirantis, Coordinator, Joomla, WordPress, Drupal. You name a lot of engines. LAMP is the base of all those setups. That's why we are learning LAMP, because a lot of things are covered in the LAMP area. Okay. So let's go with the database. Let's have something for the database. Okay. So what is database? So what is database? And why we need database? Silence is not the answer. I need some. Pardon? So you cannot store the data in the text file. You can store the data in text file, but why we need database? So I can also get specific information. I can also get the information in specific format. I can write a Ruby, Perl, shell script, something. I'll get that data. You can do that. Why I need database? Store data in index pattern. Yes, that is a very, very correct answer. Why we need a database? Because the data is stored in index. What is index? Pre-sorted data. What does that indexing means? Pre-sorted data, either alphabetical sorting, ascending order, descending order, or whatever stuff. Okay, that's why your database search become very, very fast, and that is why you need a database, because you're pre-arranging the data in the index form. Let's say, for example, you have employee database. Now what do you have? Name, date of birth, salary, grade, and so on, right? Now you may have million records, and you can put some search criteria saying that this username with this salary, with the age so and so a grade, you can filter out the data. But that filtering is only possible when you have proper indexing. It will be a fast filtering. It is not that you cannot do that in searching in the spreadsheet or something, but then it is not a fast. Okay, so basically everything goes with the database, everything goes with the index. Okay, so what is a database? It is a collection of data with indexes. What is indexes? It is a pre-sorted data. Okay, either ascending, descending, numeric, date wise, or whatever stuff. Okay, now what is the punchline of Nike shoes? Anybody has any idea? Just do it. Yes. What is the punchline for the YouTube? Broadcast yourself. Right? You are uploading your videos and broadcasting, right? What is the punchline of Google? Their punchline is index everything. See, their main power is in search engine, right? Why the search engine is fast? Because their data is indexed, and their punchline is index everything. Whatever data they collect, they will index into that. So you get fast search. Now, whenever I go and type here, hey, search, let's say I'll go to google.com. Okay. Now, if I say, hey, go and run with the Google, and I'll say search for Linux and do with that. How many records is found? So many records. Even I cannot count zeros, no problem. How many seconds? But this is not it is doing right now. This data is already sorted yesterday. It is just showing me the information saying that this many records are there. So somebody has uploaded something about Linux. It is not available in Google right now. It's a pre-processed data. All these are pre-processing. But you feel, oh my God, this is tremendous fast is that, because already is processed, already is indexed. Everything is given to you as a ready-made thing. That's why you feel it's very fast, right? Now there can a lot of possibilities in between that time. Right? In last 6 hours, there may be a lot of information change, but it may not be say that immediately available. There is some gap, there is some delay available there. Not like every instance of data is getting there and getting latest. There is some delay, there is some gap. Okay, but why the search is fast? Because this is pre-indexed. It's called index. Okay, so you'll get the result very quickly. Try to search, try to create your own blog. See that the blog is immediately available. Your whatever the blog you created, no. It will take some time to scan, update, because there are millions and millions of websites are available. It has to collect all the data together, crunch it, process it, sort it out, go with the proper way, and then show the data to you. A lot of background processing happens there. So it's not like 1 minute. Feeling is 1 minute, but not actually the processing. Processing will take days together. And then you will get the meaningful data there. Okay? But basically it is a index, everything is there punchline. What is a punch line of Google? What is Google punchline? So something here. Punchline. What is the punchline of Google? So everybody is asking that. I don't know. But basically it's the index everything. Okay, forget about that. So we are off the topic. Let's go with that. Okay, so pre-sorted data. Okay. Now when we are working with Linux operating system, there are two versions we already know, 6.x, 7.x. With 6.x, we will go with the MySQL database, and with 7. Is a MariaDB. Now, why this happens? Yes, so MySQL has acquired by the Oracle, purchased by Oracle. That's why people from MySQL came out. They started their own company with the name of MariaDB. And Red Hat says that till 6.x version will support MySQL. From 7 onwards, our default version is MariaDB. They didn't say that we will not support, just the default database is changed. Previously, the default database was MySQL database. Now the default database is MariaDB. Is clear? Now, depending upon the operating system, you need to go with that. So technical details, package name, either you can go with the MySQL or MariaDB. Okay. Port number, rest of the things will remain same. 3306, configuration file, this is a /etc my.cnf, data files or database files /var lib mysql. Okay, and the commands are a little bit different. So you can say that systemctl, 6 service mysql start something. Here you will say systemctl stop Maria. Okay. Then once you start the service, we have a lot of things to go along with that. Okay. Now, how to connect to database? I will say MySQL-u root-p. So U is the username and root is the database user, not the Linux username. It is a database user. -u database user -p is equal to password. So this is local connection. Now suppose your server is at remote place, so it's a remote connection. So MySQL -u root -p ns -h the server IP. So if the server is remote, you will have to use different commands. Okay. So this is how you'll go with the MySQL connectivity. So let's go and see that. Okay. I'll go out. I'll say cat OS release 7 version, right? So we'll show MariaDB, right? Sudo yum-y install DB server. So we'll go with the MariaDB server. But while typing the command, we'll type all the command MySQL commands. Package is only name is different. Ready, three, go. Here we go. See that MariaDB. Now this is the server related package, and this is the MariaDB client. These files, and this is the library file. All this becomes the complete set of your MariaDB. So you need a server to connect. You need a client, and you'll go with that. What is downloading? Nearly 10, 11 package. Okay. Good. Good. Done. So we have done the installation of database server. Okay. Now how to start? System CTL start. Started that. Good. Now by default, when you start, let's check that. How to check it? ps-ef 5 MySQL. You see that? And what is the port number? Excuse me. What is the port number? 3306. You will be able to see that port number 3306. Okay. Now how to connect to the MySQL? MySQL-u root hyphen. So username is root. By default, the username is root. And now it will ask to enter the password. By default, there is no password. So I'll just press enter. Now I am connected to the database. Welcome to MariaDB Monitor and connect with the database. Okay. Now I can type any command at this. This is called as a command prompt of the database. How to come out? Exit. How to connect again? Connect here. Now I'll first command show database. Databases. So it says there are 4 databases available. Okay. So this is how you will install the. Now what we will do today, we will stop here because I don't want to break in half. So tomorrow we will get all the commands related with the MySQL database. Okay. So we'll run with the MySQL database there. So tomorrow's complete session is on the MySQL database. So today just we have got the little bit introduction and then storage of that. Okay. So hopefully you are able to get little bit things. I will not say expertise directly, but introduction to the small thing, important thing. Now, as a part of the matter, get for the homework. Let's write down the homework. What is the homework? Okay, homework. What is the homework number? We don't know what is the homework number. Okay, fine. So write a shell script to install HTTPD or Apache service. Condition: if the package is already installed, do not install again. If the package is not installed, install it. So this is a simple shell script you have to write. You have to check that the HTTPD package is there or not. If it is not, install it. Okay, simple, very simple shell script. You need to write it. So show me that script tomorrow. We'll see that what is happening there. Okay. So let's stop here today. Tomorrow again we'll go deep down and complete session on the database part. So all the nitty-gritties, commands and so on, go with that. Okay. So Sumant, any question from online? Okay, so looks like no questions. We'll stop here and then we'll go further.